I'd like to bring to order the Township of Hamilton Committee meeting Monday, June 3rd, 2024. Would you please stand with me for the flag salute? Thelma?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the
United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided pursuant to the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law by posting a notice of this meeting on the bulletin board in the municipal building and by publication in the Press of Atlantic City and Star Ledger on January 6, 2024 and January 7, 2024, respectively. Mr. Cheek?
Here.
Mr. Laws?
Here.
Mr. Patali?
Here.
Dr. Witherspoon?
Here.
Mayor Schenker?
Here. Can we have a moment of silence for private reflection?
If we can, if I may ask, we lost a young man in our community. He was an athlete at Oakcrest High School, just graduated last year, and a member of the Knights track team. The young man lost his life in a motorcycle accident on Saturday. His name's Jeremiah St. Seren. If I can ask you to please remember him in your prayers and his family. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Guest presentation? No guest presentation, Brett? We have a proclamation. Oops. This is a proclamation that I'm very proud to present. Bill, can you come up here? I was talking about something else. I've known Bill a couple years now. Always a pleasure, my friend. I've known Bill a couple years now. Bill was one of the original Senior Citizen Advisory Committee members. In 2015, we started, and I will say, very active. You were a big part of keeping it going, along with others, and getting it started from the ground up. And the township would like to give you this proclamation for all your service and the time you spent. We really appreciate your efforts. Whereas Bill Smith has been a member of the Senior Citizens Advisory Committee since its inception in 2015. Whereas for the past 8 years, Bill has served the Senior Citizens Advisory Committee as co-chairman. And whereas Bill could always be counted on to help plan and participate in the activities organized by the senior community within the Township of Hamilton. And whereas being a resident of the Fairways, Bill served faithfully as a member of his community's Home Owners Association. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Township Committee and the Township of Hamilton, County of Atlantic, and the State of New Jersey on this day, we tried to give you to this last meeting, so it says May 20th, 2024. It's not a typo. William Bill Schmidt, in honor to his devotion to the senior community of the Township of Hamilton. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Sure.
I want to thank the committee for this award. This present committee and all the committees, township committee members before them, for putting up with me for the 9 years. And I'd like to thank my wife, Carolyn, for putting up with us, Diane, who's here, and Jim, who have been with us for quite a while. And I want to remind everybody that's here, you may not be a senior citizen, but somewhere along the line, you may be a caretaker. When the meetings are posted and we have an expert coming and talking about different projects, different ideas, different things that will come up in the future, I would advise you to attend the meetings on Thursdays, the first Thursday of the month, beginning probably in September, because one of the most satisfying things is to have somebody come up and say, gee, I'm glad I came. Gee, I didn't know that was available, and now I can be prepared. So keep that in mind. And again, thank you. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate it.
And I guess I'll state the obvious here for anybody out there. There's an opening on the Senior Citizens Advisory Committee. Please.
Technically not yet, Carl.
Yeah, actually, yeah, 2 openings, actually. So please, if you're interested, fill out the form online on our website. And Diane and the rest of the group could use the help. So,
And they do a great job, too. Diane, thank you so much for all your years of service, too. We will move on. Additions, deletions to the late agenda items to be considered for action tonight. We have one item to change to the bills list. Bill list total is changing from $554,859.13 to $753,251.01.
oh, I'm not introducing that.
I'll make the motion.
We have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
Are there any questions or concerns? Jane, can we do a roll call for this? And if I call you Rita, I want to apologize now, okay? Because it's going to happen. But go ahead.
Mr. Cheek?
Yes.
Mr. Laws?
Yes.
Mr. Patali?
Yes.
Dr. Witherspoon?
Yes.
Mayor Schenker?
Yes,
All yes.
thank you. Early public comment on agenda items excluding items listed for public hearings.
We have no one signed up, Mayor.
Okay. Discussions, formal action may be taken. Presentation by Casa Verde Dispensary, 4760 Black Horse Pike, Block 11134, Lot 3.02.
Mr. Mayor,
Gentlemen?
I'd like to recuse myself.
Okay, Mr. Cheek. Come on up front, don't be shy.
I just would ask, just make sure that microphone is on and that you speak directly into it, please.
Good evening.
Perfect.
I guess I'm doing okay. My name is Lou Magazoo, and I have the honor of representing Casa Verde, which is an applicant for a retail cannabis license. I am a little shy of doing 20 of these now around the state. Every town's a little bit different, but one of the things that we understand is that you are giving us your trust and your faith and your confidence. So I think we've had 3 or 4 meetings already, and preliminarily, all of them have been helpful. But we want to answer any questions that may exist. And to that point, I'm going to introduce our applicant as well as the experts that we're going to be relying upon. We have a PowerPoint, and we also have for you the binder that has everything from the PowerPoint. First, James, if you would introduce yourself.
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity today. My name is James Tundura Jr. I'm the operator and founder of Casa Verde.
Hi, my name is Lazaro Correa. Thank you again for the opportunity. I am the security technology company that will be handling the security for the site.
While you're here, why don't you talk a little bit about your security background?
I'm a retired narcotics detective with the DEA and Sheriff's Department out of Passaic County. I did 25 years of law enforcement. Now I own a security company that I started in 2013, and I started doing the technology end of it, the security remote guarding of it, utilizing technology, cameras, speakers, all real time with a component of a monitoring station that will secure the perimeter of the building 24 hours, 16 hours, 12 hours, whatever deemed fit for anything that occurs outside the property at any given time and moment.
We'll get back to Jay, if you can introduce yourself.
My name is Jay Shulo. I'm a civil engineer involved in the project.
So all 3 of these folks are going to have something to say about the PowerPoint. Let me just give a little bit of background of what you have in front of you. Not all of this we shared with the public, and I'll explain the reason why. First, an executive summary, which is exactly the executive summary that we used when Council first gave us consideration for this application. We then have some things we're going to speak of in a moment: the land use issue, the zoning map, the site plan, which has benefited from it. We met with your joint zoning and planning folks, your professionals, and they gave us a lot of input. Exterior picture of the existing structure, rendering the proposed structure, interior floor plan, interior renderings. What you also have are the resumes of Mr. Tunador, Senior and Junior, Frank Formica, who's been assisting us in last career, who you met, myself, and Mr. Shulo. So that's the professional package. Now, what I'd like to do is go through the PowerPoint, and James, if you come up with me for a second, and I want to just indicate that you have, in fact, you're aware of everything we're putting in the PowerPoint and you've reviewed it in advance. So let's, Sam versus technology. Okay, so let's go to the first one. So this is just the zoning map that we're going to reference. You're aware of that. And next one is also was one version of the site plan. Go ahead to the next one. And we're going to talk about all these. What's the next one? This is the existing building. Okay, existing, and it's the next one. This is the rendering of the building that you anticipate putting up. Next one. We're going to go through these in more detail so identify them. Go ahead. That's second. This is the second version, the same one. Okay. And next is you reviewed this already. You authorized this, and you reviewed this both with your security folks as well as the multiple times you've had with the township. Second one is go ahead. And just identify, just briefly, that's going to be the rendering of the interior. Next one. Same thing from different view. Next one. I think there's one more. Okay. So we'll go back to the very beginning. We'll go into more detail. But James, while you're here, I'd like you to tell the board a little bit about your experience, your involvement, the facility that you're already in the middle of opening.
Speak briefly about my experience. I've spent the last 10 years in the cannabis industry. On the CBD side, I was a co-founder in a company called Green Roads, and we dedicated ourselves to manufacturing gummies, sublingual tinctures, applications such as coffees and teas, and we would export those products across the U.S. to different countries, about 10 different countries. We're in about 65,000 point-of-sale locations throughout the U.S., including Publix, Hudson News, and convenience stores throughout the U.S. We became the largest privately held CBD company in the U.S., and in 2021 we successfully exited. I also was granted a dispensary license in Elizabeth, New Jersey, which I am opening in September. Aside from that, I've also dedicated myself to real estate development in the last 10 years, and also opening and operating many hospitality, food, and beverage businesses. Currently, we found this property. It's a wonderful location. And would you like me to speak about?
Yeah, why don't we go through just a little more detail about, does anybody have any questions about his experience first of all, before we go back to this? Okay. All right, let's go to the back to the design. All right. So this is, we'll bring the site plan. Go to the next site. Okay, so all right, explain a little bit about why you chose to take the design, and then we'll go with the interior. But as to the exterior, is there any particular reason? I think you were very careful with an architect. What went into the elements of this?
Obviously we wanted to improve the site. The parking, we wanted to have a lot of lighting for security purposes, to make sure that the property is secure during opening and closing hours, and for our patrons who are going to be visiting us, obviously to have good visibility to enter the property. The exterior of the building is going to be completely secure. We're going to have many exterior cameras, including floodlighting for security. And then the whole building, although you have windows, those are just going to be for show. We don't anticipate having any actual windows for security purposes. It's just for the aesthetic of the actual building. You can, right. This is just another angle.
Talk about. All right, let's talk about how this is going to be set up with respect to security, with those people first come in, sales floor, how the product is segregated, how many total employees, what you ship to them. So we'll start from the very beginning. Actually, I'll start from the end. How many employees will we ship to?
So we're looking at 4 to 6 employees, and that's going to entail a security guard in the front, which is the orange area where it's labeled lobby. And then we'll have about 2 bud tenders on the floor, and the manager will serve as the inventory specialist inside the vault storage area, who can also receive product when it comes in through the back, which is the exit on the southern part of the image here. So we'll have a total of 4 on our slow days, and then on our days where we have more volume, we'll have the opportunity to incorporate another bud tender. But just keep in mind that the manager will be versed in everything that goes on in the property, so they can serve in the bud tender capacity as well as in the vault storage area.
All right, so the security officer will be in the orange area.
Yes.
And walk me through when someone comes in, more importantly, walk the committee through about
so starting at the northern part of the image where it's labeled lobby, you're going to have your clients that are going to come in and they're going to go to the reception on the far left corner, and the security guard will check and scan their ID. Once he verifies that they're over the age of 21, they will be allowed or open, they'll have a button to push them through the lobby front doors, and now we're going into the teal area, which is the sales floor. We're going to have display cases showcasing the product. There will be no cannabis displayed on the floor there. Everything is packaged or encased, so no one can actually touch any product or misappropriate it and leave with it. We're going to have shelving on both sides, and then we'll have a total of 4 POS stations. However, we'll have two for in operation depending on how busy the day is. One of those POS stations can work for the curbside pickup or for any consultation that needs to happen on the sales floor. We'll be able to attend everyone at that POS. So the bud tenders will be in between where it says fulfillment, which is the green area at the middle of the image there, and the POS counters. The way this is going to operate is once the client makes his order, the bud tender will turn around to where the fulfillment window is, and then they'll take the product. The manager and the inventory specialist will be pulling the product from the shelving in the vault storage area and transferring that over to the fulfillment area for the sale. After that, we have the vault and storage area. Whenever we receive a product, we're making sure that the product is received through the back of the building and that we're not introducing any of the product through the lobby, through the sales floor, and creating a bad customer experience as well as creating risk for the delivery man as well as our employees. So we'll be accepting the product through the back door, the southern part that says exit, and we'll be taking that directly into the receiving and delivery room for counting and then assessing that we have the right amount of product so that we can receive it. You'll see that there's an office there on the bottom left corner, a break room for the employees, and then our non-cannabis storage for any of our paper goods and any other product and paraphernalia that we're going to sell within the store.
You gave a lot of information. Let's work through some of those pieces. First of all, and you'd like to say at the very beginning, you had to be approved by the Cannabis Regulatory Commission. Is that correct?
Well, I have been approved by...
Approved for a few other locations.
Yes,
And it's a pretty rigorous process.
many years.
You've gone with also investigators that check you out the
Yes.
plan. You have to approve your plan, including this type of floor plan.
Aside from background checks, yes.
And with respect to the delivery of the product, what type of vehicles will be used to deliver the product to that factory?
What we're seeing right now is, depending on the manufacturers or cultivators, they can go from small Comcast vans to Mercedes-Benz Sprinters.
No tractor trailers.
No.
And they're all, my understanding, are all nondescript. They don't say we're delivering cannabis.
No, you're not allowed to.
Okay, it's a very important point that people don't generally know. With respect to the vault designation and the area where folks will actually, well, let's go over everything actually. You mentioned that there's no cannabis, there's no cannabis that can be purchased from the sales floor. Let's just go back to that. Why is it?
Well, obvious security reasons, you don't want any. This isn't your typical product that you can just grab and leave. This is a highly regulated industry. So that being said, anything that we display on the floor will look like there's cannabis in it, except it's just a package, an empty package.
And then, again, they're doing verification to the security impact. So then someone will come, talk to the bud vendor, how many percentages are, you said that the delivery people coming and whatnot.
Right.
What percentage of folks order in advance kiosks?
So when it comes to revenue, we're seeing about 50% is going to be your in-store sales, and then we're going to see a lot of curbside pickup and a lot of delivery, so about 50-50.
In all instances, there would only be one of those employees who can register by the CRC is actually part of that process. Is that correct?
Right, well, all our employees have to get vetted by the CRC, and then we as the operators designate who would be in charge of that.
Now, for those that actually come within the building, in the site that actually make the acquisition, they haven't ordered it yet. What's the typical time that people spend as they come in, peruse, make their order?
Well, for someone who's never been there, who's going to be very inquisitive and asking questions, it can take about 15 minutes to get to park, to get in, have their conversation. It's usually, hey, look, I don't know what the product is, but I feel this way. Do you have anything for my sleep or for my pain? They make several recommendations, and then they make a purchase.
And for those who are regular purchasers who come on a regular time, what's the regular occasion, what's the time that's typically allocated or anticipated?
If we're not talking about parking, getting out of your car and checking in, it could be 3 to 5 minutes.
So that vault storage, just let's revisit about the access to that vault storage. Who has access to the storage, and if you anticipate the flow, how will that actually work again?
Right. So the only people who will have access to the office and the vault storage receiving the living room will either be the owner or them.
And we're going to hear a little bit from the security later, but you've engaged the security expert. And what we are not doing, unlike when we met privately, we're not going to show where all the cameras are. We're aware of Oprah. We don't need everybody to know where the cameras are.
Right.
We can tell you that the entire security plan, I think, is already given to the chief of police, and we will continue to work with the chief for consult, and he will know exactly where everything is. He will also know, and the police department will know the entire security plan. Am I correct about that? Yes. Okay. All right, we're going to bring our other experts on, but is there anything else that you want to add that I may have missed in terms of my question?
Just on a note on the security features, aside from having exterior cameras everywhere, we're going to have interior cameras throughout the facility. I believe excessive because by law we have to allow that state law enforcement and local law enforcement have access to the security cameras. So at any point throughout the day or the morning, state law enforcement, the New Jersey Cannabis Regulatory Commission can look into the cameras and see what's happening at any moment, and they don't have to request any access. On top of that, just to harp on the security, each of those doors for the office, the vault, the hallway to get into the back office, the sales floor, they all have security protocols, so you have to use either a fob or a key card to get in and access those areas. And if you're a regular bud tender, you won't be able to access the vault. So this is a very high security property.
Okay, I'm going to bring the three up so that we can talk a little bit more about security. And again, with my point that we don't want folks who know me to know exactly how things are laid out. But I want the committee and the community to have a comfort level that we're on top of it. So just generally talk about the cameras that are interior, exterior, and with the Township both perspectives. Please, safely, security, those kinds of things.
So approximately on the outside of the building, we're looking at maybe anywhere between 15 to 16 cameras constantly viewing the perimeter. We're looking at maybe another 20, 25 cameras on the inside. We're going to use a remote guarding security system. It's technology based, connected to a monitoring station, which will be live. So now every camera will become like a security guard. As opposed to having one security guard in front, now we're going to have 16 cameras at night when the location is closed that will be monitoring anyone coming close to the building. That's going to be with the analytics and AI, which is intruder detection. So if anyone comes near the building, let's say 20, we deem to see how many feet away. We'll discuss that upon testing phase, but it'll be 20, 30, maybe even 50 feet, probably 20 feet from the building. Anyone who comes near the building, there'll be a two-way talk-down device where we'll be able to talk down to the person and let that person know that they're being watched and that they need to leave the area because it's a prohibited area overnight. There'll be a two-way talk-down. We'll be able to talk to them. They'll be able to talk to us. We'll be able to explain to them if they're just looking. We can say, listen, you need to leave. You can't be here. You can come back the next day when the premises is open. If it's someone who is giving us a hard time and we see that it's probably someone trying to break in, loitering, then we go to a different phase. Now what will happen is intruder detection is right away, so we deem it a threat, and then we'll notify, the analytics will notify us at the monitoring station. The monitoring station will then call the police department and dispatch police department vehicle to assess the situation.
Earlier I referenced the security plan being referred to. Did that happen already?
I believe so. I believe so.
And we'll continue to work with the police department.
Absolutely. Not only will we continue to work with the police department, we're always going to be checking in with the client and the police department to make sure that all the analytics cameras and everything is connected We have what's called a touch sheet. So what will happen is once the site is live, testing is complete, what we'll do is we'll have a manager assigned to the site, and we're constantly making sure that all the equipment is correct and is working as it should be, and we'll also be in communication with the police department to make sure that they have everything they need.
Perfect. Thank you, Jay. I'm gonna call you up now. Just for the benefit of the committee and the audience, just a little bit about your background, your professional background,
So again, Jason Shulo. I'm a licensed professional engineer, professional planner in New Jersey. I've been doing this for almost 25 years now. Well, when is it? It's May? Yeah. 24 years. And they distracted me. And I specialize in land development projects. I didn't intentionally get involved in cannabis on the regular, but recently, as you can imagine, there's been quite a bit of it. And I've been fortunate enough to do over 20 dispensaries. I've done a handful of grow facilities, a couple of manufacturing facilities, worked with clients that practice and have dispensaries in 39 different states, and I've seen through them many different ways of handling projects such as these, ranging in size from small ones such as this to larger facilities. They don't usually get much bigger than 5,000-6,000 square feet, but some of them can be significant.
All right, let's go to the very first. I want to just identify the zoning map, and then we're going to go through the. All right, so this is the map that we've been working from.
It is.
Zone property.
We are.
Now we have probably one or two detailed meetings with respect to the building and the flow, and we should have put this on record. The plan is to knock down the building and start.
We originally looked at trying to save the building, not just from an architectural perspective, but from a site planning perspective, and there were some challenges. So, as you can see, it's been kind of left into disrepair for quite a bit, and people who know the area know that it probably needs to go. So we do propose to remove it, and it gives us two opportunities. Aside from fixing the structural issues and obviously appearance, we are able to get more parking on the site because of relocating the building.
And we'll talk about that in a minute. Let's get to another picture of the anticipated rendering. So when we go testify for the planning board, since you are a planner, you'll be able to indicate that this is an improvement to the space.
Absolutely, yes.
Let's get to the site plans that we can talk about. There are some changes, some consequences to the construction changes. Let's talk about how that's going to impact setbacks and things like that. And some of the issues that were identified in the meetings and how we dealt with issues.
Sure. So what you see there is a site plan that we prepared conceptually. Then the colors I'll explain in a sec. But generally, you'll see the lot is relatively small. So it's surrounded by a larger parcel that at one point was planned to be developed. And you can see that based on the stuff to the left and the right of where the colors are and a little bit in the rear, that the restaurant operator encroached into the neighboring property by a good bit. And there was at one point an easement to permit that should the rest of the project site around it be developed. We've learned since then that that has sunset and there's no longer an easement, so we are confined completely to the lot itself, which is uniquely small for as large as the area around it is. But what we've done based on needs for this project, which there isn't much relative to parking demand or services, because as you heard James mention, there's only delivery vans that come to the site, and then separate from that there'll be trash trucks, all of which fit around the driveway as shown here. The green area you see around the site and up near around the building, excuse me, and up near the road is new green space. So the existing condition has the driveway loaded in this view to the right side, so it's on the east side of the site. And we, to be compliant with DOT current standard, we pull the driveway into the middle, add a little bit of landscaping, formalize that parking, which right now is just paint, kind of running wild. And then in the back where it's gravel, we would pave, because as the township ordinance states, we should have parking and loading paved. And you'll see that the building itself is more or less a square. It's about 2,200 square feet in footprint. The original building was about the same size, and then there was a porch on the front of it. So what we're effectively doing is removing that porch and more or less sliding that building mass forward. So the rear setback, you can see the light black line right off the rear lot line. That was where the building goes to today, and it's about 10 feet off the line. What we propose is to slide the building up so that we can fit a driveway and parking spaces in the rear. So it goes from 10 parking spaces in the 10 parking spaces required by ordinance as it sits currently. 16 spaces exist, and there's, in this layout, 21. So we add those 5 in the back, plus the loading zone on the right side, which today there's no loading zone. A lot of stuff gets formalized in this arrangement. The trash storage will be inside the building because it's going to be a little bit of domestic waste, and hopefully not a lot, but a little bit of cannabis waste. And pursuant to CRC regulations, cannabis waste has to be stored inside, secure, to be picked up by the original delivery or supplier. It's either an issue or it's outdated or expired, whatever. We can't just throw it in the trash, nor can any other operator. In addition, there's a sign that's up in the front corner that in the existing condition was there until I guess maybe this past winter when a storm took it down. It might still laying on the ground, actually, the board. We propose to just pretty much replace it where it stands. Other than that, it's typical site improvements, landscaping, lighting. We don't need to do stormwater management. We still have to go to Pinelands. There's a lot of site planning left to be done after this, assuming we're successful in getting support from the committee. But the intent is to stay completely within the project site, not utilize any other parcels as the previous restaurant had done, and be compliant with current zoning.
You referenced it, I can bring Dave back unless you have knowledge of all these things you've done. There is a protocol that CRC requires that the cannabis one back, which is taken from the trash. Just speak to that. James, if you want to. I want the record to be clear that it just doesn't get thrown in the trash. What happens to it based on CRC?
So the CRC will contact you, and they'll tell you to destroy the product in the facility. They will call you, and they will be on the cameras while you're destroying the product, and then you lock it in a bin. And with the contract that you set up with your waste company, they'll do a special pickup, and then you pay for that special pickup, and that's how you get rid of your cannabis waste.
Most of my stuff is moving during site plans.
Yeah, I understand. So,
I'm going to answer your question.
yeah, I think we've covered everything that I wanted to bring before the board. Certainly we're available for any questions. Again, we tried to be as thorough as possible without taking up your whole agenda tonight, but to anticipate what your questions might be and then answer them. But certainly we're available for any that we might not have anticipated. We didn't talk about parking. We will talk about that for the board, but our parking situation, just because that will come up.
One of the things that's interesting is just the procedural, the way this works out procedurally. This is an amendment to the redevelopment plan that covers most of the township, and it gives the opportunity for the township to create redevelopment plan standards associated with just this parcel. We, as it sits right now, the parking requirement is the township code, which is retail, which is more than or less than what we show. We have more than required. Mr. Watkins advised that in one of the last redevelopment plans, there was a site-specific standard for parking created that was, in my view, excessive, but I'm not going to, obviously we're not going to solve it tonight, but that there were a lot more parking spaces required than the ordinance requires. We're going to have to work through that, but in general, we show what we think is probably more than necessary based on the retail square footage, the number of employees. The second floor of this building, if we are to do one, if we're able to do one, will be storage and office space for just the cannabis use, not a separate office space or anything. So it would be the same amount of employees, whether it's one floor or two. And the second floor would be about half the building, and as I mentioned, just office for that.
Based on all the projects you've done, what is your sense that, what's the closest analog, closest comparison of retail facility now for people coming in now?
Like the actual operation, like CVS, I guess. It's kind of one of the things that's interesting.
How quickly people come in and out?
Yeah, it's not intense like a Wawa would be. It's more like a CVS. So I mentioned the different ones that I've done. So we have probably half of the ones I've done have been in Atlantic City. There's 9 open now. I did 6 or 7 of the ones that are open. The vast majority of them don't have parking, but it's urban. It's a little different. Then we did one in Egg Harbor City that's been open for probably 6 months now that has a couple of remote parking lots, and the concern is the same everywhere we go. What about the lines in the morning before they open up? Because the very first few that opened, most of them are closer to Philly, and people were coming over the bridge and they were waiting outside. They weren't set up for it. They weren't really actually had any parking, so it became a thing. We have since opening the handful in Atlantic City, even on Memorial Day weekend when they have grand opening sales, 2 or 3 people waiting outside. Everybody's kind of gotten used to the idea of how these turn over. You don't have to wait in line because the product's not going to run out. You don't have to be there early because you're not going to miss out on anything. And most people don't want to wait in line. I know I can't stand it. I don't know why anybody would do it, but they did. But that's no longer a concern. And that's just progression of the industry. And one of the operators that we deal with that's in Michigan is their base, but they have, like, I think, 14 or 15 different states they operate in. And 3 or 4 of them, they said it's like going into a convenience store and grabbing a bag of chips off the cliff. Pop it off the counter, drop it down, they pay for it, and they walk out. Other places, they treat it like it's the most expensive product to ever exist, and they're scared to death someone's going to try to steal it. We're in between here. I mean, New Jersey's planning it well, but I don't think, security is paramount. I don't think it's going to be anywhere near as intense as some people really think that it could be. We hope it is for their success, but if they run it properly, there's not like an influx of people right when they open up. It's kind of spread out. And the online orders they talk about, it's by appointment, so they show up when they're told. They don't just come in randomly. It's set up really, really well to be efficient.
Thank you. Sure. If there's any other questions, certainly we're available. Try to, as I say, give you as much as possible. We've got the whole team here to answer any questions. We do need a resolution of support before we can go to the next phase with the CRC. There was another point that didn't come out in testimony. Because this is for this business to succeed, it requires continuous flow. So there will be no allowance of anybody just hanging around. There's not going to be any congregating. It's not going to be a place to go to see your friends. It's a place to go to buy the product and to leave. And that's something that's very important. We know that's also important to the township. Frankly, it's important for our business plan. We don't want people hanging around. And this is not a place. There are such things called consumption licenses. This is not one of those applications. This is just a retail. Like Jay said, like a CVS.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone on committee have any questions?
Yeah, I have a couple maybe. On the security side, are you, and you can answer from there, your camera system, you talked a lot about what you're doing on the outside of the building. On the inside of the building, are your cameras connected to the POS so that you can manage interior theft and so on and so forth?
Yes, they're all connected to the POS. We could monitor any camera that's on that site. We can remove, we can add, we can ship, we can just do just about
Someone comes in with a stolen credit card, we need to trace it, you can see who it is that's on the screen using the
So
card.
we make sure that it's angled
Good.
correctly so that we can see all the transactions.
Excellent, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And the other question you already answered, and that was, are they gonna, because the way it looked on the inside, looked very boutique-ish, so I thought, at first that maybe people would be able to consume inside the building, but that's great to hear. Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you very much. Appreciate you coming in. We'll move right to resolution authorizing local endorsement.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any concerns, questions? Jane, can we do a roll call for this, please?
Mr. Laws,
Yes.
Mr. Patali,
Yes.
Dr. Witherspoon,
Yes.
Mayor Schenker.
Yes.
Yes.
We also have a resolution authorizing execution of an escrow agreement.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Are there any questions or concerns? Hearing none. Jane, once again?
Mr. Laws,
Yes.
Mr. Patali,
Yes.
Dr. Witherspoon.
Yes.
Mayor Schenker.
Yes.
4 yes.
Thank you, congratulations. I want to thank you for, through the whole process, that we have sat with you, multiple meetings. I think there's been 3, not including tonight. You guys have been very professional, and we appreciate that. And being that you made some changes to your layout there to help us digest what you're trying to do here is much appreciated, and we wish you good luck.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It's really been a pleasure working with you.
Thank you.
Who's talking about you?
I know.
Oh, my gosh.
Shall I go, Mr. Cheek?
Yeah, you want to? Sure.
You forgot him again. You forgot him again.
I got to get a buzzer or something.
He's got a sandwich hanging on.
When he comes in, motion to adjourn the meeting.
Oh, let's do it. Let's do it.
That's not right. I hurt his feelings.
Thanks, Emily.
It's it's bad when aliens involved. It's bad.
Welcome back. Okay.
All right, make the motion to adjourn.
Let's go to B now. What do you think? Sure. We have a discussion, seek authorization to advertise for RFPs for special counsel for COA. Brett, if you wouldn't mind, or Ken, whoever would like to field this one.
The new regs are coming down from the state.
Why don't you tell us what COA stands for?
Basically, it's
Costs a lot of money.
the
Oh, no, that would
affordable-
be, that's wrong.
The
letter,
affordable
sorry.
housing standards have been changed, and they are getting set to be introduced to the municipalities. We're told sometime late summer or early fall they're going to come through, and we need special counsel to get eyes on them as soon as they come through. So we
Okay.
want to get ahead of the curve here.
Are we looking to set a limit on this monetarily, or is it just whatever they've got to do to get us
So we have
prepared
it
for this?
Not to exceed right now at 15,000.
15,000? Okay, thank you. Committee, any discussion?
This was budgeted for through special
Yes.
counsel.
Hearing no discussion, we need to do a roll call vote for a vote to give authorization. Pardon me? Yeah. Need a motion?
Motion. Second.
A motion and second. Are there any questions or concerns? Hearing none, all those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it. There are no public hearings or adoption of ordinances. And moving on to number 5, there are no introduction of ordinances. So we're going to move to number 6, award of bids, contracts, change orders. A, resolution authorizing the purchase of a signboard from the National Highway Products Incorporated, not to exceed $21,093.49.
So move, second, whatever.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions, comments? Just so everybody knows, this sign was our sign was damaged in an accident. We're just replacing it. Jane?
Mr. Cheek,
Yes.
Mr. Laws,
Yes.
Mr. Patali,
Yes.
Dr. Witherspoon,
Yes.
Mayor Schenker.
Yes.
All yes.
Thank you. 7, consent agenda. We have letters A through E. This is one of the shortest
And
agendas
you're
that
dragging it on.
I am. I'm trying to drag it out. I don't want to go too fast.
I make a motion to move 7A through E.
Thank you.
Second.
What?
We have a motion and a second?
Yes. I'll go to that second.
Okay. On the consent agenda, are there any questions or concerns?
Yes, I have a question.
Okay.
On C, 7C, the approval to submit the grant application, there was no fee on the resolution. So how much are we talking about? What's the dollar amount?
So right now, we're submitting to be, allowed to have a grant contract with DOT. The cost estimate for the project was estimated around $300,000, so we're asking for $300,000. Typically, they've been, in the last couple of years, been running around $220 to $250. So that's what it is. The resolution was taken off of the DOT website. They don't require to have the grant amount or the requested amount in that resolution at this time. So, but just for your knowledge, that we're asking for $300,000.
I just wanted you to know.
Oh,
I noticed
absolutely.
that there was no dollar amount.
No, I understand, and I checked on the other municipality we've done before, and last year's as well, both of them, and it was the same.
Thank
Yep,
you.
no problem.
Any other questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it. We're going to move to 8, personnel. With a heavy heart, we are going to accept the resignation of William Schmidt from the Senior Citizens Advisory Committee, effectively June 8th, 2024.
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? We now officially have a vacancy. Carl.
2.
2? Okay, number 9, approvals, minutes. Regular meeting Minutes of May 20th, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. Bills, bill list total, $753,251.01.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and second. Any questions, concerns? All those in favor signify by saying roll call vote.
Yes.
Mr. Cheek,
Yes.
Mr. Laws,
Yes.
Mr. Vitale,
Yes.
Dr. Witherspoon,
Yes.
Mayor Schenker.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Reports, Mr. Administrator.
I have nothing to report.
Outstanding. Mr. Solicitor.
Nothing to report, Mayor, thank you.
Again. Bob, you're not going to let us down. Mr. Engineer.
I'll keep us going. There's nothing to report besides Leapy Field. The outside of the building has been painted. I think it looks really nice. The inside should be done by Thursday, and hopefully wrapping up by next week of all the inside.
Okay.
Awesome.
Very
Hopefully.
good.
Yeah.
Township Committee, Dr. Witherspoon.
Yes, I would just like to thank the Veterans Committee for allowing me to participate on the program. I was having problems with my voice, but people were very gracious to me, so I really appreciate that because I know how patriotic the Star Spangled Banner is to us. I don't know what happened to my voice, but I pushed through it. That was a very nice event. It rained, but they accommodated and came right on the inside and still had it, and I thought that was nice. And coming up on June the 19th, there's going to be a Juneteenth celebration at the Gaskill Park. And it's going to be a nice, they're doing it actually on Juneteenth, which is June 19th. June 22nd, there's going to be another one in Mizpah. And that's all I have to announce.
Thank you.
Report, rather.
Former Mayor Patali.
Just want to give a shout out to all the fire companies, rescue squads, police department, public works, everybody who was involved with the structure fire out in the Weymouth section. I know they're taking donations for clothing and, of course, money, whatever, to help the resident out that pretty much lost everything. I think Davis Brothers out there on the Black Horse Pike in EHT is a drop-off spot. If you have anything, you can drop off out there. But good job to everybody that took care of that on Saturday afternoon. As Dr. Witherspoon said, Juneteenth on the 19th at Gaskill Park. Hometown celebration on the 29th, Saturday, 10 till 5, I believe, 10 to 4. 10 to 4, hometown celebration, and that's at War Memorial Park. And then National Night Out. What's the date? The 6th. That's a Tuesday. Gaskill Park again. So come on down for that. Hopefully you have great weather again, as we've had the last couple of years. Fireworks, good time. Night of Lights is the 17th of August. Why don't you come down and since you're going to take over my time here.
Would you like us to add a spot for you?
Yeah.
Oh. Right, under reports. Or, wait a minute, I can add it right after adjournment.
Anyway.
You asked for it.
Night of Lights, August 17th, we're going to have cardboard boat races also.
Excellent.
Excuse me, Chief.
And the mayor's going to go down with his ship.
Pardon me, Chief. Do you mind coming back to the mic and just reiterating those dates, please? Do you mind coming to the mic?
August 17th.
That's okay. That's one date. I want all the dates that we just mentioned. Juneteenth. Let's go through the whole thing while you're here.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay.
That's really all I have for that. So Reagan, I'll see you later. And Maddie, miss you, love you. Hope to see you soon.
Thank you, Carl. Thank you, Chief. Committeeman Cheek.
I must say the Memorial Day ceremony was nice compared to being outside in the rain. We were in here, and it was quite a nice event. And also, I echo everything Bob said with Leapy, and it should be done by the end of next week. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Laws?
Yeah, the Memorial Day celebration was awesome. I thought it was great. I was surprised to be asked to participate in that way. Didn't know exactly what I was supposed to do there.
You did an outstanding job.
Yeah, I stood in there real well, didn't I? No, great job though. It was, and I think Dr. Witherspoon did an outstanding job. She's very critical of herself, but I thought she did an outstanding job with the presentation, those two songs. So thank you for that, Dr. Witherspoon. The gentleman that spoke, man, just powerful, just absolutely powerful. And the speech was extremely steeped in humanity, and love. And I'm not going to kid you, I was moved by it. It's rare that you even hear a military person speak from that vantage point, but he's right. Lives, were at stake every time we go to war. And the risk certainly has to be justified by the reward. And the fact that we have the freedoms that we have in America today is the reward. So we thank those guys for not just their service, but also the lives that were lost and limbs and so on and so forth. To that point, I'd like to just speak briefly about Mr. Jeremiah St. Seren. I had the pleasure of knowing this young man since he's 10 years old. I watched him go through our elementary schools and our high schools, and just a fantastic young man. I beg you guys, please slow down. I beg you guys to please keep an eye out for motorcycle riders. I beg you young guys to just get away from the whole speed idea and your reckless abandonment. And we are not invincible. But to the love of that family, his mother has to be going through, well, she is going through some major things. There is a GoFundMe page started under Jeremiah St. Seren. But the entire Oak Crest community and Meigs Landing community has been affected. So if you have a student or you know of a student at the school, please wrap your arms around your kid, show him as much love as you can, and God is still on the throne. Thank you.
Thank you. It was a bad week for Hamilton Township. We lost a great young man, and the Sheraton family lost a home. Both situations are upsetting, dire. The Sheratons had nothing left but the clothes on their backs. So if you can see it your way to help either one of these families, please do. It has, like I said, it has not been a good week when it comes to this kind of stuff. I'd also like to reiterate that I thought you did great. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. And you know what, Thelma? You did so good. So we're going to install a brand new sound system down at the Memorial Field for next year. I can't wait. Right, Brett? When's that going to be done? What, it's done already? Excellent. Dude, I'll tell you what.
Hometown celebration?
Something else.
It's government. I'd rather not answer that question.
Nah, very nice job. Everybody involved with the ceremony. 1 minute it's going to be outside, it torrentially downpours, and now it's inside, and they flipped it over. Public Works, the police department, everybody, the fire department did a great job. It's always a very moving, because I don't think everybody understands truly what Memorial Day is. I think there's a lot of people who just don't get it. I never allowed my family to have a barbecue on Memorial Day itself. We've had barbecues, but Saturday, Sunday, but not on Monday. I think it's the first time that I've ever seen a colonel, retired colonel, a Marine, no less, get emotional over a speech. It was it was amazing. It really was. So, thank you to all involved. And I'm going to now open it up to the public.
Can I say one thing I forgot? I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
June 6th will be the 80th anniversary of D-Day. And we have a local man who I know as Uncle Tim Canary. He's 102 years old. He's already gone over, I think it was 4 years ago, he went over there and did a tour, and he was there on D-Day. He Battle of the Bulge all the way through. He was a medic, and he is back over in Europe now, and he will be there on D-Day with, I think there's 7 others from our area that are with him. And World News Tonight, David Muir, every night this week, he will be giving a little story about it, and I think Thursday night is supposed to be the big story. So keep an eye out for that. They interviewed Tim. He still works 6 days a week. He's 102 years old. He still drives. He works at Battellini out there on Route 40 in Landisville. Shows up at 6 o'clock in the morning, goes home around 2:30, sweeps the floor, cleans the bathroom, goes out and picks up parts. So God bless him. His sister, his mom lived to 108, Aline, I believe, 107. So I'm expecting him to make it to at least 107. He looks great. So please if you got the time, catch it on the news and see Uncle Tim. Well, I mean, how long ago was that? I can't. All right, his sister worked at the pub. I think that'll be more for everybody. You know, Aunt Pat was at the pub for years. So.
All right, I'm losing control of the
All right,
meeting.
sorry. Reel me in, man.
You guys want to talk? Go right ahead. I'll wait.
Nah.
Oh, God. You know what? I'm going to open this to public comment. Anybody in the public like to speak?
Oh, jeez. Move to close.
Jenny Harris, 4812 Green Ash Lane. I wanted to mention something about Casa Verde, if I could, or actually ask a question. That's a highly walked area from Cologne to Walmart and back again. Is there any consideration for a fence in back to keep people from cutting through their property?
There
is fence.
There is talk.
Oh,
Yes.
see, that was easy.
Mm-hmm. Good question. Thank you.
And I believe on the plans it shows sidewalks out front on their property.
Anyone else?
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
Motion to close?
Motion to close public portion.
Second.
We have a second. Any questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The chair will recognize an adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and second. Any questions? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the ayes have it. Thank you all for coming.